You'll be picking your tree to be planted, to be delivered by Mr. Solar Steve and planted into your yard.
Yes. They just use the term lease, but really it is just a power purchase agreement where we can offer you cheaper power.
It's definitely one of those things where you have to knock on the door. The door is there, but you have to knock on it and step in order for it.
Yeah.
All right, welcome to another episode of Monopoly Moves with Marillo. We have Solar Steve with us here today. We're going to go over some of the updates that are coming up here in the solar industry and get some insight from you on all the changes that's happening with the government programs, as well as what incentives there are for people to go solar.
Yes. No, thank you for having me. I see what you're doing in the real estate space. I call it Mogul Morillo. And, there's a lot of disconnect right now sometimes in the real estate and how to maybe even see the value of solar. Like you said, there's a lot of new updates with the Inflation Reduction Act bill that was passed. So I'm just happy to have this conversation and glad to be invited on the show and see how I can provide value to you and, to the people listening.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys are going to want to stay on to the very end of the video as well, because we're going to be mentioning the Hope Tree Initiative, which we have our first clients who are going to be receiving. We'll tell you more about that later, but we'll be getting into more of that towards the end. But you mentioned something very key off the rip, was that perceived value of solar being attached to a home, right? So solar power, as you and I know, most people don't know the value that it adds to property owners. So give me a little bit about what you've been experiencing in getting people to understand the value of solar panels and how it impacts, their savings as well as the added value to their properties.
For sure. To me, going solar is one of the highest return on investments as far as upgrading for your home, right? Mm-hmm. It pays for itself literally, and it retains its value much higher than many other upgrades. For example, if you get a $30,000 pool, right? Mm-hmm. Not everybody uses the pool. The pool costs money, right? Because it costs energy for the pump, the maintenance on the materials, and then the increased value out of that 30,000. Maybe you're lucky to get 10,000. What's your opinion on that? The most that an appraiser will credit towards a pool is $15,000.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter how much you invest. You could build a $100,000 pool. Yeah. You're gonna get credited $15,000 on an appraisal.
Not everybody needs a pool or uses a pool, but everybody needs electricity. And especially now with inflation being on the top of everyone's mind, and those numbers are a lot higher than what people think. And, having the costs go up every year by putting solar on the home, you're saving well over hundreds of thousands of dollars pretty easily here in Florida. So, and a lot of this is just, having the realtors understand how to see the value. And so with real estate, right, you can do comparable sales, right? Where, hey, this house right next to it sold for this value versus this one, right? Mm-hmm. But in solar, you can't necessarily do that because maybe they have a small system and you have a bigger system. So they do like a discounted cash flow and like, how much is this system producing? So what's the actual value? And so the Department of Energy actually did a great study where they had over 15,000 homes that foreclosed and they sold it in the market. Mm-hmm. And on average, you'll see about a $3 per watt. So 10 kilowatt in increased value.
Increased value. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So $3 per watt in increased value, right? Mm-hmm. What is the average watt per home?
Say here in Florida, like 10, 11 kilowatts.
Okay, so 10.
Just a 10 to make it easier. Let's say it's a 10 kilowatt system. Okay. It's also a 10,000 watt system.
10,000 watt system.
So $3 times 10,000 watts.
That's $30,000.
Correct.
Got it.
It's one of the few things you can do to increase your property value that does not increase your property taxes. So imagine you had raw land. Mm-hmm. And you put $1 million worth of solar on it, they still would tax you as if it was raw land.
Gotcha. So no added taxes on your property, right? Mm-hmm. So what is rolling out now? I guess that brings us to the government programs. What is rolling out? I've seen some marketing messages out there where like basically you get solar installed for free.
Yeah.
Is that a real thing, and how does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't, I'm hesitant to use the word free.
Okay.
But there's, with the Inflation Reduction Act, and I have it here behind me, it's currently the largest government investment in climate change in history, $370 billion going into this space. Okay. Some are grants, which you don't have to pay back. Some are tax credits, some are rebates, right? But traditionally, the main way to go solar is you have to buy the system, right? So you either buy cash or you work with one of the solar financing companies, and you get it for zero down and you pay it monthly, and you get the 30% tax credit. The thing is that not everybody makes enough income to get that whole tax credit. You're still going to get it. Let's say you get a $10,000 tax credit, but you only owe $5,000 in taxes. You'll get $5,000 this year, $5,000 next year, or even
okay. You can allocate it to the following year
for the next 10 years. Okay, right. Okay. So they with this new bill, they bumped it back up to 30%, and they extended that for the next 10 years. So for the next 10 years, pretty much, you get a 30% discount on the solar system. The only problem is, let's say you're a veteran, or you're on disability, or you're retired. Those people don't make taxable income, or not enough to really benefit the true value of the 30% tax credit right away, right? Or their debt to income ratio, they don't want to, they don't want to finance anything else, right? They don't want anything else on their financial statement. So now this new program called Project Hestia. Not sure if you've heard of it.
Not yet.
But the Department of Energy is allocating $3 billion to one of the banks that we use to actually build 115 virtual power plants.
Virtual power plants. How does that work? Is that so? The power plants would be. I'm just taking a wild guess at this. The solar is there at the power plant, and then it's sending off signal to the other solar panels.
So the biggest purchaser of solar right now are the utility companies. Okay. Right? Okay. They might tell you, hey, the technology is not ready or whatever, but they're buying more solar than everyone else. And it's not just because of the environment, it's because it's less maintenance and it's cheaper. It's been cheaper since 2016 across the US. So they're buying tons of solar and then they're selling it to us, right? That's a power plant. Or they'll build a peaker plant, right? Or whatever. But 50% of all new energy generation has been solar on the utility side. So
when did this start? Because I know it wasn't a thing.
2016.
Okay, in 2016.
That's really when you've seen an explosion in solar across the board.
So I'm talking about the peak in the utility companies actually starting to go solar. When did that start?
It's been for like 10 years now. They've been going solar, and then they keep breaking records every year. Every year is a record-breaking year for solar.
Is there any specific company doing more than the other?
FPL is huge right now. They're investing. They've got like 4 more power plants built. Duke has some. OUC they're building.
So are these considered power plants or solar farms?
So these are solar farms. So basically what's happening is the government instead of taking up all this land, right, to build these massive solar farms, right, and take up that land, they rather help the homeowners put solar on their home and not take up any land at all. So they take
up the real estate that's already
there. You take up no additional land and you're producing it right where you need it, so it's way more efficient. So it's like, it's the decentralized energy.
Gotcha.
Right? So it's like a microgrid. So they, instead of having this peaker plant to support the demand, if we can get at least, another 10,000 homes in that area, it actually makes the grid more stable, right? It actually saves them from having to build these peaker plants and things like that, because our infrastructure is a little old. In Florida and Texas, they're growing like crazy. It's hard to keep up with that demand.
Yeah.
So they put $3 billion aside for Project Hestia, and basically now they'll buy the system. So it'll show up on the government's financial report, and now people who are retired, disability, or they're 99 years old or whatever, and they just want to save money on the energy bill and they don't want it to keep going up, we can buy the solar for them. So there's no loan, there's no debt to income. You only need like a 600 FICO score, and we can lower their bill, 30, 40%, and it'll never go up.
So is that considered a purchase? Do they have to qualify for that program?
They do need a 600 credit score, and they got to pay their bill on the light bill on time.
Okay.
But that's it. And there's no income verification. We just need to show them day one savings in order for them to qualify for Project Hestia.
Gotcha. So homeowner, 600 credit score, no money down?
No money down.
And pay bills on time, obviously. What do you guys look into, like the history of
Yeah, we want to see that they're paying their light bill.
Okay, gotcha.
At least, right?
And day one savings, meaning the first bill that comes in after installing, there's going to be a lesser amount projected to be due average bill.
Yeah, so we'll figure out what their utility is charging, right? Think of it like gasoline, right? Let's say, at the pump, you're paying $3 a gallon. And I'm saying, hey, look, we can offer it at $2 a gallon. And it'll never go up. It'll stay there for the next how long you live there.
Yeah, gotcha. And that's not considered leasing. Is that correct?
So, yeah. So
is it considered a purchase?
It's either PPA or a lease, right?
Okay.
PPA is a power purchase agreement. And that's how the utilities often go solar, where a company will build a solar farm for them, and then they just agree to buy that energy cheaper. So then they could resell it to us.
Okay.
Right? Okay. In Florida, we can't use the term power purchase agreement because they don't want a third party utility selling
or
power
resale.
per kilo. They don't want us selling it per kilowatt. So they just use the term lease, but really it is just a power purchase agreement where we can offer you cheaper power. We just can't use that word. So there's lots of leases out there, but Project Hestia is a special program where that one's is federally backed. And so they lower the criteria substantially so it can be available to way more people.
Okay, so again, the question is, with the people who utilize the Hestia program, is that going to be owned units or leased units? And there's a specific reason why I asked that question.
Yeah, so it would be a lease, right? But as soon as they move, they can either transfer it over like the utility company would, or the new owner can buy the system at the discounted price and roll it into their mortgage. And now that monthly would be less than what the original person was paying.
Or take over the lease.
Okay. And you can leave the price at where it's at.
Yeah. So the reason why I mentioned that is because another thing a lot of people don't know, two things I'm probably going to end up mentioning is that when you're purchasing a property, right? If there are solar units on the property that are currently being leased, appraisers do not value that towards the value of the home.
Because they don't own it.
Right, exactly. And then two, whether it's leased or owned, you have to qualify for solar panels separate from the purchase of the home, unless the solar power is owned and completely paid off.
Yes. So if it's owned, right, you can buy it and purchase it with the home if you qualify for the total amount, right? When you have your mortgage, right?
Correct.
If you do the lease, is actually way easier. Because you can keep the price of the house the same. Let's say it's a $200,000 house and they only got approved for $200,000, right? There's no wiggle room there. Then fine, they can still get the house and we transfer it over. Or if they have, they qualify for more than what the house is worth, they can ask, hey, how much would it be to buy out the system so I can roll it into my mortgage?
So even on a leased unit, even on leased panels, you can try to buy out the system?
Yeah, you just ask them, hey, what's the buyout? And it's already, the 30% tax credit is already discounted, plus some of the months that, the years that they've been paying. So you're going to get it at, you're still going to get it the great deal.
Interesting. So you've already encountered this situation.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. The first time I sold a home with solar on it, we weren't aware that the buyer had to qualify separately. So let's just say it does.
So you would need like a 600 FICO score for the current, for the Project Hestia one. So the new owner would just need a 600 FICO. If they don't have that, then I don't know how they're getting the home. In the first place.
Well, that's what I was going to say next is that in that particular instance, that first buyer qualified for the home, but didn't qualify for the lease unit, or not the lease unit, for the solar panels. However, that particular solar company did have more stringent. So these are newer programs that they brought it way down. All right. So now we were having an interesting conversation a few weeks ago prior to scheduling this episode. And you were telling me something about a program where you were having it was, a creative program that was helping property owners get the renovations and remodeling done on a particular home. So tell me a little bit more about that, because it was mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
And when I first heard it, it sounded too good to be true, right?
Yeah.
Until literally I pulled it up. You can go to congress.gov website and you can search up the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. It's like 270, 300 pages long, but I'll give you the cliff notes here on the call. So basically right now, every homeowner in Florida and in almost, I think, like not all 50 states, but maybe like 45 of the states, right? There's like 3 states that are not applying for these grants. But there's a $22,000 for every homeowner, a federal bank account with their name on it.
How much?
$22,000.
Okay,
in
for
federal
every
grants
homeowner
to upgrade their home. They just don't know it's there. And if they did, they certainly don't know how to get it.
So it's definitely one of those things where you have to knock on the door. The door is there, but you have to knock on it and step in order for...
Yeah.
Okay.
And they want to incentivize this. So I'm not sure if you remember in Texas when they had those rolling blackouts because of the winter storm and all that. You know, their grid wasn't built for that. The grid went down, and then they even sent like letters like, you know, try not to charge your EV car during this time or whatever, because the grid wasn't able to keep up with the demand. In places like Texas, where, you know, they're building so fast that they might put a bunch of cheap AC units just to kind of get it done, right? You got a lot of old or cheaper units that are putting a strain on the grid. So they have to build another peaker plant, which costs, you know, $1 billion or whatever, many millions, to build that to help support this peaks in demand. So what and we need to desperately upgrade our infrastructure, whether it be internet or maglev trains.
Everything you know, is in the process.
We're a little bit behind
from underground lines, getting rid of the poles.
So
especially in the smaller, older towns, the historical towns.
So in order to buy time for them to kind of keep up with this growth, especially like I said in Florida and Texas, there's actually cheaper to give homeowners $8,000 or $10,000 to make their home more efficient and put a less strain on the grid. As they grow it out. It's actually cheaper to give the homeowners that money directly to them, and also it helps Americans, you know, that are struggling and maybe they don't have an extra $8,000, $10,000 to cover their AC unit, right? So let me see if kind of show some of the highlights here. So these are the three main programs that are going to be affecting homeowners. So in this bill alone, there's $82 billion in grants, $43 billion in tax credits, and one of my favorites is $40 billion in federally backed funds. So that's what we're using to basically help buy these systems for people. And
so that's that 22,000 that's being distributed.
That'll be the 82
that's out of the 82 billion. Oh, in grants. Okay, gotcha. So that's what it's referred to as the grants.
Yeah.
Now, question, and it may be too soon to answer this kind of question. I'm a homeowner in Kissimmee, Florida.
Yes.
And I utilize those funds to put solar on my home. Now I sell my home and purchase a home in Ocoee, Florida.
Okay.
And now the new home that I purchased doesn't have solar panels.
Yeah.
Do I have access to that money?
Yeah, you can apply for it again. It's a new home.
Really?
Yeah. So I have a client. I have two clients that went solar with me like within the last 3 years, and they're one of them already got a new home, and one's buying a new home, and they both hit me up to go solar again on their new home because one sold the house. They didn't even tell me. Right? You know, it's if you look at Forbes or Zillow, you're going to sell your home about 20% faster, right? And at a markup. So they sold their home and they went solar cash on the new home. And one of them even kept the tax credit, right? Whatever, and just pocketed it.
Gotcha.
So you know, they know it saves money, and you know, sometimes we're able to cover their bill for the first year or two, just to kind of give people a break.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
So the $82 billion in grants that feeds the HERA program and the homes program, I'll talk about that. The $43 billion in tax credits that feeds the 30% tax credit. That's the one most people are familiar with. They're not really familiar with these other ones. And then the $40 billion is how we're able to fund these programs at low credit thresholds, no income verification, because it's something that it needs to get done, and they know it helps save the homeowner, right? Though you can either do it through these incentives or wait till they force you to go solar, because at this point they just need more energy on the grid. But for the grants, there's $14,000 to upgrade specific appliances.
Okay.
So one of the biggest ones, especially the biggest consumer, is air conditioning. So there's up to $8,000 point of sale rebate for that, not a tax credit. So if you need an $8,000, let's say your unit is $9,000, and you get this rebate, you only pay $1,000 for that brand new AC unit.
And you said it's point of sale. That means when you're ready to transact,
$1,000 is not.
You don't have to pay for it.
Correct.
And then wait in the mail to get a certificate that says, "Hey, here's your money back."
No, the point of sale.
Gotcha.
And then you get an additional $2,000 tax credits on top of it, which is not insignificant because dollar for dollar.
Yeah.
Electric wiring, $2,500. Weatherization, things like windows, insulation, $1,600. And water heater is the second biggest consumer behind the AC, and that's $1,750 there. So there's up to $14,000 to upgrade appliances. Now, the caveat is it has to be, for the AC, for example, it has to be energy efficient, right? So it has to be a 16C or above. They have we already know the list of what's pre-approved.
But I mean, essentially, it's what you want anyway.
Yeah, it's what you want anyway, right? And then the homes program is not on specific appliances, but is if we can reduce your energy demand by 20%, there's up to $4,000 there. And if we could reduce your energy demand by 35%, we do $8,000. So we create an energy model, and we're an engineering firm that I work with. They're able to create these models and get people this money. So the service that we're providing right now is information. People just don't know. So with just 3 pieces of information, right, we can actually tell people exactly what they're eligible for and how to get that money with or without us.
Gotcha. So what are those that you're talking about, the 3 pieces of information that you need from them, right?
Correct.
Property address, energy bill, and credit.
So yeah, property address, because what they do is they use the HUD map, they take your area, and they figure out what the average household income is in that area. So if the average household income in that area is 100 grand for the household, if you make between 0 and 80,000, you qualify for 100% of the rebates. If you make between 80 and 150% of that income, you qualify for more than half of those rebates, right? So let's say if you were in that first qualify for 100%, and you got an $8,000 AC unit and you get the $8,000 credit, great. That's 100. You don't pay anything for that brand new unit. Now, if you're in that second bracket, you can get up to 50% of your project capped at $8 grand. So if it's an $8,000 AC unit, you only get $4 grand. But if you get a $16,000 AC unit, which the richer people or the more affluent people might need a bigger unit or a 5-ton or something like that, they can still get $8 grand, but the project would have to be a $16,000 project. Or if it's 14,000, they get $7 grand. But either way, they're capped at $8 grand.
So it's only 50%. It's not up to 8,000.
Up to 8,000.
No, up to 8,000.
But 50%
But it has
of
to
the
be
project.
50% of the project. Because you would think, all right, 14,000.
You get $7 grand.
You get half instead of the full 8
thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. If you're in that first bracket,
I can see where most people will be like, hey, but I thought we can get 8,000. But it's only 50% of the project's total.
Correct. So we actually show people where they fall in line on the HUD map, exactly what they qualify for, and how to get it. Okay. And that's it. And we provide that as a free service within 24 hours. So if, like I said, the address, we need to figure out what zone you're in, and we use the HUD map and the zip code. Household income, right, between you and your partners, all the people working there, the number of people in the home. Okay. And then, what's your average bill? We don't even need your whole bill. We just need kind of an idea of what you're paying. And then we'll give you that free report and show you what grants and tax credits and what programs are available for you now. Okay.
As far as the grants go, typically, they're not loans, right? Grants, so the grants, you don't have to pay that.
It's not a PPA loan.
Gotcha. As far as the tax credit, how does that work? Is that something that your tax professionals are automatically going to know that you did? Or what do you have to do to make sure you get that tax credit?
Yeah, so we send the homeowner the tax form. It's like a 2-page form.
Okay, kind of like a schedule. Is a schedule form?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and what I like about it is this is one of the most powerful tax breaks you can get in the U.S. tax code, because it's a dollar for dollar reduction in what you owe, right? So let's just say you're a W-2, right? You make, I don't know, 70, 60K a year, and you withhold, $8 grand, right? And then you find out you only owe $6,000, right? When you do your taxes, then great, you get $2,000 back, right? You withheld $8, you owe $6, and you get $2,000 back. But if you get a $10,000 tax credit, that $6 goes to $0. So you get that full $8 grand back, and you still have another $4 grand for the next year.
Right. Okay. So, all right. What are the most interesting projects that you've worked on so far? I know you've been having some luck with getting a lot of aerials as of late, and you've been doing a lot of projects, especially ones out there on the west side of the state. What's the most interesting project you've worked on so far regarding solar?
Yeah, I had a client who wanted, he just bought one of those Ford F-150 chargers, right? He's going solar, and we added like a sub panel so he can backfeed the home and use his car as a backup battery. And those are like 40 kilowatts. It's like 3 batteries in one. So that was pretty cool. That was something different. We did a tile roof, right, recently in a real nice neighborhood. And we have this new racking system where you don't actually have to do penetrations on the tile. So normal solar, you have to cut the tile and stuff, and that can get way more expensive. So we were able to do it where it's not going to affect the tile at all. It's going to protect the roof, and
it doesn't slide.
Nah. And then we just did one for a metal one, and we just clamped onto the seams too. Red roof, that was pretty cool. We got these new bifacial panels, which I think are pretty cool. if you apply for one of our model homes, they actually get that as for free upgrade. But it's like a double-sided solar panel. So most panels, 90% of the panels you'll see, they'll just collect sun from the top. These collect sun from the top and from the bottom. So some of the light goes through, and then they get even more, an extra 5 to 25% production from doing that.
That's pretty interesting.
And that's more of a commercial panel. But we have, our engineers come from the commercial space, so we're able to source directly from the manufacturer for those.
Okay, yeah, because like with rays of the sun, when they're feeding and going in all different directions, if they get around the top layer of the panels, I would imagine they go somewhere. And then some of the light goes reflected.
Yeah, some of the light goes through. Most panels will have a back plate where the light can't go through, but we'll have it where it can go through. Right.
And still receive.
And then we'll have another layer of solar collectors on the top, on the bottom.
Interesting. Is that more expensive?
Yes. But, we have a program right now with our model home where we take care of all the rebates, all the grants. We pay their bill for a year and they get upgraded equipment. We just ask for some things in return for marketing purposes. Like you said, like allowing us to do the video. We want their bill a year later because, we want to showcase those savings. Numbers don't lie.
Of course.
We do have a special program that's voluntary. Otherwise, they can just, pay for the upgrade if they want.
And I heard you in conversation earlier talking about us not being limited to just the state of Florida. So
no.
Where else all do you reach? I know you mentioned Texas.
I work with different installers. One of the ones I really like right now is in Power Sustainables. We're really in Texas, Florida, and like the northeastern states like Jersey and New York area. And then another installer I work with, Freedom Forever. They're in like 30 plus states, right? So I like using them for California, Nevada, and a lot of those states. And I like to compare. And it depends on the situation. Is it going to be off grid? Is it going to be on grid? Is it a commercial project? So, I always work with our engineering team to figure out what's going to be the best scenario. And then, we warranty and we do a money back guarantee on our projections.
Interesting. Money back guarantee on the projections. So that means if you guys, let's just say you promise me a $50 savings in my monthly bill and my bill comes back and I'm maybe, I was expecting to be paying $150 a month and now I'm paying $170 a month.
Gotcha.
So that $20 difference you guys are covering?
Kinda, and I'm glad you asked because I want to clarify that. So let's just say over the last 12 months you're paying $200 a month, but in your bill it says for the last year you've consumed 20,000 kilowatt hours.
Okay,
right? And we say, hey, look, this system's going to produce those 20,000 kilowatt hours. If we don't produce that amount of energy, we owe you the money. Now, the savings is a little tricky because if you consume 20,000 kilowatts this year, but then next year you got 3 kids or, family members move into the home and now you're using 40,000 kilowatt hours. Now we're still saving you a crazy amount of money, right? But you're using way more than what you need. So it's like a car, right? We're taking you from $3 a gallon down to $2 a gallon. But, before you were filling up a little car, now you got a truck. So you're going to spend more. I can't promise you're going to save money. But you're going to save money at the pump, right? No matter how much you fill up.
Got it. What are the things that people should be aware of pertaining to solar? Like we talked about value of a home, right? How it affects the value of a home, and then monthly savings. What else is out there? Oh, then you have your home programs, right? What else is out there that people need to be aware of?
I want to say just like anything you do, you want to vet multiple companies, and I would say get at least 3 quotes. Right. We encourage it. Right. You're going to notice there's different types of warranties. Right. We have a premium one, which is a money back guarantee. And then we have you have the manufacturer, the laborer, right, and things like that. But then, do they take it a step further? Do they have skin in the game, right? So they don't have a money back production guarantee. To me, that's kind of like, you're not really, if it doesn't produce what I say, then you're just giving me an estimate. So
exactly.
At that point, you have sales rep that over project what it's going to produce or be kind of overly optimistic because they want to sell the deal. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't produce what they say, it is what it is.
Right,
so that's something that some people sold. So that's something to be aware of. If you are going to go with the company, see if they have a money back guarantee on the production. If it doesn't produce what they say, what are they going to do about it?
Oh, so what about this? What about you guys had something pertaining to like roof replacement whatever partnership?
We are working with roofers like crazy. They're calling me. I got a guy who got like 4. That's my favorite partners to work with, honestly, roofers, because, right now the roofing game is a little, hard. A lot of people are getting kicked off their insurance or because they wait more than the 15 years and they neglect in time. or they get their roof approved, but then now they got a big deductible, right? Or maybe they need a roof, but they can't. The terms are like 12-year at 11.99, or they can't get approved for financing. So we've been able to help people get a roof. I got a client right now that needs a roof, right? And it was a $20,000 roof, and we were able to get the funds through Project Hestia and cover pretty much $10,000 towards the roof.
Nice.
Right.
And they come up with the difference out of pocket.
Yeah. So right now, I got also another proposal where we're able to get 100% solar and the entire roof for like $15 more than what they're paying on their light bill.
Wow, all included.
And they get a 30% tax credit on the area where the solar is on the roof.
So that's not only a great way to increase the value of a home, but if you know you're getting ready to sell, and you also know you don't want to dish money out of pocket to replace the roof before you sell, which that's going to affect the sale. Right, because a messed up roof is gonna require a buyer to demand or negotiate, right, some savings off of the price, or have them request.
And by doing a bundle, we give them a discount on the roof too. If they do the bundle, we give them a discount.
That's actually pretty clutch to know. I can make that suggestion to homeowners before we list on the market. If they know and they're trying to get away with, or they're trying to sell the home, not get away with, right, but they're trying to sell the home without replacing the roof, that might be a great alternative to secure the sale.
Exactly, because let's say they're paying $250 a month on energy, we bring it down to $200 or $180 or whatever. They're now saving $50-$60. We could take that money and squeeze out an extra 15-20 grand for the roof and still be within their budget. So we'll save them like $300 a month or more, versus them doing it separately.
That's probably a good segment just to talk about just
roofers,
or not just roofers, but here, do this before you sell your home. If you haven't changed your roof in over 15 years, before you sell your home, do this.
Yeah. And it makes it easier for the buyer, because some buyers can't even buy it until the roof is replaced so that they can get it insured. And, I've seen that too. So we help with those situations. Right.
Just to get it insured. Damn, that's another thing.
Yeah. And so I have a network of roofers in Florida specifically that, I can tap into, because they want to work with us. They give us special discounts and we can bundle it together.
Okay. All right. Solar Steve, what else? Anything else out there you want for the audience to know? Where can they find you online?
Find me online. You go to mrssolarsteve.com. There's a form on there. You can put your name and number, and I'll give you a call within 24 hours, generally speaking, except on Sundays. But, or on Instagram, you can go to, solarsteve.nft. For New Fruit Tree. NFT stands for New Fruit Tree, so which kind of brings us into our Tree Hope initiative, right? Which a lot of times, sometimes when I help someone go solar, we give them a fruit tree as well. We plant it with them, because just like solar, it's a gift that keeps on giving. And
so I'm glad you brought that up. The Hope Tree initiative. So basically, what I decided to do with Aurora, Florida this year is we launched the Hope Tree Initiative, which is a partnership with Mr. Solar Steve and Galt's Landing.
Yes.
What we're doing is home buyers, once we've closed, and sellers, right? Sellers end up buying somewhere else or moving somewhere else. They have a couple of options, right? Is what we're doing. So home buyers who are moving into the Central Florida area, we've already closed their home. What we're doing is we're scheduling a tour to visit Galt's Landing in person. And then at the end of that tour, the buyer's able to pick out a tree, a fruit tree, that will be planted in their backyard or their front yard, wherever in their yard they want the plant tree to go.
Yeah. And for those that haven't heard about Galt's Landing, it's a beautiful 40-acre plus off-grid community with its own private lake. It's off-grid, meaning it's completely solar powered, and it's the whole property surrounded by a food forest that has several Airbnbs, a couple houses on there.
And they're launching the academy, right?
And they're launching the academy. They've already had doctors and people fly in, coming in, and even people from the county and school tours. There's been a bunch of tours already there. They got all, from sand to a tropical food forest within 18 months. Right. And then every year it just gets more and more abundant. Honestly, the ROI on a fruit tree is way higher than solar, because I like Jim, who was likely to give you the guys a tour. One of the things he likes to say is you can count the number of seeds in an apple, but you can't count the number of apples in a seed. because once you plant that seed, how many apples are going to be, right? And then it just
interesting,
and it multiplies, right? And that's creating abundance.
Every time I've gone, I've seen it grow more and more, and it's starting to have like a compound effect.
Yeah.
So it's kind of insane, but yeah. The Gold's Landing, yeah, for those who don't know, it's located in St. Cloud, Florida. And so essentially back to the Hope Tree Initiative, you'll be picking your tree to be planted, to be delivered by Mr. Solar Steve and planted into your yard.
Yes, let's do it.
And not only that, you will also have the opportunity to pick another plant for you to gift to someone else. So back to the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah. So you will get a plant tree for your yard, as well as gifting a plant tree to someone else's yard as well.
Yeah. We got mangoes, avocados, loquats, tangerines. I mean, Florida actually, believe it or not, grows more tropical fruits than, or more variety of fruits than any other state. Yeah,
I would imagine. It's the tropical climate.
Yeah.
So here's something for anybody who's from out of state, coming in from out of state and say, hey, I'm the first one in my family moving to Central Florida. I don't know anybody out here. So whoever you gift your tree to, it can be a friend, someone that you most recently met. It could be a neighbor that you want the tree to be sent to.
It's a good way to make friends with your neighbors, for sure.
It can be someone from work, right? Or you also have a nationwide network or other places where we can coordinate for them to receive a tree elsewhere, right?
Yeah, so at Galt's, the company is within there is Food Force Abundance. And, they have a network actually globally now at this point.
Okay.
They've even, I don't know if you've seen Entourage. The main guy, I think, plays Aquaman or something.
Not
Chase,
Ari.
something Chase.
Chase.
Yeah.
Vincent Chase. Okay. So, I love that show.
He's even done a pilot episode where they installed the Food Forest on his property. And
really?
So
is that available online?
Yeah, I can get you the link.
I would love to see that.
Find that.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
So definitely, look up Food Forest Abundance. They're doing some great things, and I'm excited, man, to start planting.
So basically, through that network, if someone has a family member in Texas or in Georgia, then we will still have their plants.
They got people all over
sent out. Okay. So as far as the Hope Tree Initiative goes, that's something that we're bringing to you as a collaboration and something to spread the love and giving you the gift that keeps on giving year round. So Stephen, what are some of the options that people would have to pick from for the Hope Tree Initiative?
Man, I could be here all day. Many options. Well, if they're coming from out of town,
I know you've got some growing. You got the mulberry.
Yeah.
You got oranges, right?
Yeah. So
what else?
Loquats. I still love Jamaican cherries. They grow so fast. Out of all the trees, like that one's.
The Jamaican cherries?
They just grew, and then they're fruiting like 6 months out of the year. These like cotton candy tasting little mini cherries. Barbados cherries are great. Grapes. Got a bunch. There's grapevine. There's vineyards all over Claremont. So the grapes grow really well here. But maybe if the people from out of town, maybe they want to plant something that reminds them of home, right? Maybe some sugar cane or some moringa or some juca or some papaya. All those grow really great here. A sweet potato, and it depends on the space that they have, and we'll maybe make some recommendations and things like that. But the plants want to grow. You just give them a little love. And what I like about fruit trees is that you plant them once and they produce for generations.
They yield forever.
So they're called perennials, right? I focus on plants that you just plant once and they just keep producing every year versus a traditional garden bed or the monoculture where you just plant one thing and then you have to disturb the soil every time. So we really focus on stability and something that just gets better over time and requires the least maintenance possible.
All right. Yeah, that's what it is for the Hope Tree Initiative. Yes. In fact, we're going to have our first tour here in the next couple of weeks. We're probably going to have to, what we should do before you go, we should definitely give them a call and touch base so we can solidify a date. But yeah, that's what we got for now. Thank you for joining us again.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Much appreciated. Always interesting in having a conversation with you, especially since there's always, I feel like there's an update on the solar industry every quarter.
Yeah. I'm tuned in though. I'm keeping up with it, and the thing about these grants that these people should know is they're going to want to we put these people in the front of the line. When that money can go quickly. So if you want to know what you're eligible for, let us help you get in the front of the line so you're able to get those funds. It's a veteran-owned company from the Air Force that's putting this together and helping people get the funds. And we already are ready to set and help people do that. So we just need 3 pieces of info. Get tuned in to Morillo here, or look me up on Instagram or my website, or give me a call.
And then one last question before we go. What is the time frame of qualifying from the moment you submit everything that's needed to getting approved? How long does that take?
Yeah, so right now Florida is expected to have those rebates available by the end of the year, beginning 2025.
Okay.
Georgia, they're getting it before the end of this year, right? So we're being proactive on this and getting all of our people before the floods and before everybody else finds out.
Okay, gotcha. So this is kind of like you're warming up to,
we do it
everything being released.
Yeah, we do it in phases.
Okay.
Right. So first, what's going to have the highest impact on their bill, and what's going to have all the available like financial benefits now. Solar is going to have by far the highest impact on your bill. It's the only thing that could take it to zero, right? Mm-hmm. You can't get in an AC and then bring your bill to zero, right?
Right.
So ACE for the solar is going to have the biggest impact on your bill, and the project has to, and all the funds are available to now. Then we help pay that homeowner with our model home program. It's, I guess, a special program, but we pay our model homes for marketing purposes, $250 a month for the first year. So they have no electric bill for a whole year, and then a year from now, we'll be able to put them first in line and get those grants.
Got it.
And then phase 3 is to get that additional $8,000 by creating an energy model for the home. So we do it in phases. So it's not just we just do solar, we disappear. We're looking to maximize everything and squeeze every dollar out of that bill.
Hey man, that sounds economically efficient. I don't know.
and hassle free, right? Because if you did it yourself, you got to call the state energy office, coordinate with contractors. It's tedious, so we're just trying to make it easy for people. We'll give you the information on how to do it on your own, but when people see that what we're doing and how we can save them money, it's like, oh, just help me. You help me do it. You know what I mean? So.
Mr. Solar Steve, appreciate you, my brother. All right, well,
we'll have to do this again sometime for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure I'll have more updates for
next you. We're definitely gonna do another conversation. I would like to dig deep,
a deep dive,
a super deep dive on that particular topic. So thank you for tuning in to another episode of Monopoly Moves with Marillo. Yeah. Again, thank you, Mr. Solar Steve.
Follow this guy, man. If you want to stay updated, he knows what he's doing.
We're bringing you the live and most direct information on updates and what's happening here in the Central Florida market and beyond. So, and of course, we're always helping our people elevate through real estate every day. So
that's good. That's good.
Signing out.